What's up, ladies and gents? This is the Experienced One, a.k.a. the Black Pope, Elijah Burke, and you are listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, and we're back here once again on In Your Head, and we're joined by wrestler, manager, host, commentator, he's done it all. We have Matt Stryker on the line.
Easy for you to say. How are you, man? What's going on? Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. Now, let everybody know, June 21st, you're going to be in Warwick, Rhode Island for the New England Fanfest Hall of Fame, and the website will be right on our website, but it's a NEPW, as in New England Pro Wrestling, HOF, Hall of Fame, .weebly.com. And I know Mo and Oscar are going to be there, and I also like to ask, Big Vis, you manage. I actually was a real big fan of that run, and what was it like, managing Big Vis?
Well, he was a great guy, for as big as he was and stuff. He was just, it's really the old thing, the gentle giant. He was just such a friendly guy. He always had a smile on his face, and he always had good music playing in the locker room. And when you were around this, everyone felt better. So, when we found out, that we lost him and stuff, it's like one of the good guys. Not that other people that have passed away aren't, but it's like that one kind of really gets you, and it really got me because he was a friend. He was my friend. So he was Nelson before he was this, and that was, he was just a great guy. So I hope his spirit will be there as well to be with Oscar and Mo.
Yeah, and actually, I've heard many people who knew him in the wrestling business said the exact same thing. Just a really nice guy, and I don't think I've heard anyone say anything bad about him.
No, he's got a wonderful wife that he left behind down there in Memphis, and it's really difficult. I can only imagine what she's going through.
Mm-hmm. Have you met Mo or Oscar before?
I don't think I have. No, it would really be a thrill for me. I'm a fan of that time period, of course.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've had Oscar on the show several times. He's a very funny guy, so I'm looking. I'll be at the fan fest as well, so that's going to be very cool. I would like to ask. Go on, sorry.
Who else is there going to be up there? I think it's always fun to hear some of the names that maybe some people are on the fence about going, and then they hear, someone will be there. Scott Ledoux, I'm going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Dangerous Danny Davis.
Cool.
The Nasty Boys.
Oh, nice. They're always fun to be around.
This one, you know what? I'm not familiar with these ECW tag champs, the Super Destroyers.
Wait, who tag champs?
Former ECW tag champs. I think it's way back in the day. I think even before it was Extreme, the Super Destroyers.
Well, then it would have been Eastern Shores or Eastern Championship Wrestling. That's interesting. One Super Destroyers I know, I don't think are going to be at the convention.
Yeah, like Big John Studd, and he was one of the Super Destroyers, right?
I think so, yeah. And one of the Airline Boys.
Yeah. Typhoon.
Cool.
Ox Baker, just the tremendous mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Superfly, Jimmy Snuka.
Oh, interesting.
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
That's great. If you could get a chance, because Bobby's not been in good health. If you can get a chance to come out and meet Bobby Heenan, that may be your chance to meet one of the last true legends, because he might not be around, very much longer. I think if you're in the area and you want to come and just shake the hand of a very talented man who's contributed to a great business, come out and meet Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah. Now, you yourself, you've done a lot of different things in wrestling. You're, like I said, a wrestler, a manager, a commentator. When you moved from being an active wrestler to being a commentator, was any part of you like, I would still like to be in the ring, or did you enjoy that aspect of wrestling?
I was, I really embodied the happy to be there mentality. You guys want me to do commentary? Cool. And it wasn't, I wish I was doing wrestling. It was, they want me to do something, not, they're not letting me do what I want to do. So I never looked at it that way, but I always stayed, in ring shape just because that was how I was accustomed to working out at this point in my career. I still play hockey and still get in the ring and wrestle and stuff. So I was satisfied with the physical outlet. It didn't have to be on TV, but as far as the commentary went, I really enjoyed it because it allowed me to be a part of certain things that I maybe otherwise wouldn't have been a part of.
Mm-hmm. If you had to pick any particular like a pay-per-view or event that if you were telling somebody this is really like the match or the show that I was really proud of that I was part of, would there be anyone?
I don't know, because it's always hard when you're critiquing yourself to really step aside and say, I'm okay with this body of work, or I'm okay with that, because the minute you get okay with your performance is when, you start to get complacent. So, I mean, there are things that I'm honored to have been a part of, like Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, and, things like that, and Tommy Dreamer winning the ECW title, or one of the first times we realized that guys like Sheamus or Jack Swagger or Alberto Del Rio or Wade Barrett were going to be stars. The fact that my voice is attached to that is, that's an honor for me. So,
Just about commentary in general, how much are you told to get over certain aspects of a match, or how much of the match beforehand before you go into it?
I think one of the benefits of the color commentators being former, superstars or wrestlers themselves is that, for the most part, the good ones will innately understand what should be, be over. What are we getting over here? Who are we pushing here? And if not, there's no shame in asking. But for the most part, it's pretty much black and white. The job of the commentator is obviously to put over both guys as well as the story of the match. But there is one guy that has to come out of the match looking better than the other, and it's pretty much self-explanatory.
Now, I know a lot of former commentators have said doing the commentary, there's always people in your ear yelling at you or telling you stuff. Was that a problem, or did that happen? Or
again, this has always been brought up, and when people say, oh well, they've heard guys like Mick Foley or Taz say this or that. You have to understand that those guys had a much different relationship with Vince than I did. Mick Foley made millions of dollars with Vince, so I'm sure they spoke to each other differently than Vince would speak to me. I can say that I never was straight up yelled at in my ear. Did Vince give passionate direction? Sure. But you have to understand what the man wants. If Vince comes in your ear and says, talk to me about how strong Sheamus is, and you just repeat what Vince says, well, Sheamus is really strong, of course he's going to get angry. But if you go into a story about how strong Sheamus is because Mark Henry noticed that Sheamus bench pressed as much as he did in the gym earlier today, well, now you're giving it some depth. And I think once Vince realized that I understood what he was looking for, he kind of left me to my own devices, as bad as some of my devices may have been in hindsight,
But speaking of that, looking back, what would some of the things do you think you should have done differently?
Oh, jeez. Where to begin? In retrospect, listen, hindsight's always 20/20. I don't have any regrets, and I think the things that I did that made people like me or dislike me were things that were unique to what I brought. I think in retrospect, it wasn't so important that a Michinoku driver was called a Michinoku driver. It wasn't so important that everyone knew that Daniel Bryan used to be called American Dragon. And those are some things that, looking back on, if I had it all to do over again, I would have spent less time on and more time on the, just the storytelling, the inherent storytelling of the match.
Are you still involved actively in wrestling?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for paying attention. I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. And I'm thank God I'm still able to wrestle and stuff, and I haven't had a chance to do it in the last 5 years at WWE. So now I've been very fortunate over the last almost year. Been to Mexico, been to England, been to Germany. I'm heading over to Japan, and wrestling every weekend and just going to these towns that I otherwise would not have been able to go to, with WWE being so large, and getting to meet the fans. Getting back to the grassroots of pro wrestling and indie wrestling is something I love.
Now, Jeff Jarrett has the new promotion out. Would you be interested in do something like that?
Yeah, of course, man. A guy like Jeff Jarrett, everything he's ever touched has had a certain modicum of success to it. And I think from what I've heard, the wrestling fan is ready for something different. We were ready for something different when ECW blew up, and we're ready for something different right now. You can feel it bubbling on the surface. And Jeff Jarrett can come in and really give us something different. It's going to be good for wrestling.
And if something like that, if you had the opportunity, kind of like we said before, you'd be happy to be there in any capacity as an active wrestler or commentator, or maybe even on storylines or whatever.
My time at WWE, I was always real curious. So when I wasn't doing anything, if I wasn't booked to wrestle or I wasn't, before I was tapped to do commentary, I would sit in one of the production rooms and put on the headphones and listen to the television truck or listen to how the director gave the camera cues or the producer. So looking back, I've learned how to do all that. I don't care if it's sweeping floors in a wrestling company. If I can be involved in wrestling and helping to make it better, I'll do that. It's whether it be in front of the camera, in the ring, as a commentator, as a production guy, timing, helping write, helping anything. I love it, and I want to see people succeed with it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, the ECW, the original ECW, and you were a big part of the new ECW. When that was going on, what were your thoughts of it? Did you enjoy working with the original ECW guys?
Yeah, my thoughts were, again, oh, cool, I'm a part of something. And looking back, ECW really gave me a vehicle to get a little bit of quality television time, and ECW also got me to WrestleMania. When else would that striker get an opportunity to go to WrestleMania? So, I was real fortunate for that, and some of the matches that we had, I'm real proud of. And I enjoyed just the matches with guys like Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Sandman, and Tommy Dreamer, and Stevie Richards, and Danny Doring, and, Guido and stuff. They weren't wrestling matches. Those were fights. You fight those guys, and you end up either becoming really, really close friends with them, or just you can't stand the sight of their face. So I really liked that just intense battle.
Mm-hmm. I like your stuff with Balls Mahoney.
I bet you did.
I am a big fan of Balls. Yeah. I think Balls is very underrated as a wrestler.
Oh my God, Balls Mahoney! I feel bad that I left him out. The Balls was amazing, and a lot of people don't realize that before he was this Balls Mahoney that we all know, he was a legit collegiate amateur wrestler, and he was Blue Brad. I mean, Balls really, really talented guy, man.
Intro, did you have a question from the message board?
Yeah, from the blue guy on the message board. He wants to know who came up with
Why is he so sad?
No, not that. He wants to know who came up with the heart punch angle you did with Jerry Lawler.
I kind of made a half joke when I found out I was wrestling Jerry that I should use the heart punch. And then, like most good ideas, it came out of jest. I was just kidding around, and I said, something? That's something everyone will get. It's a great promo. Let's go with it. And when we went with it, it's so simple. People try to complicate and convolute things. You have to remember, man, when it's simple, those are the best stories to tell. So that's why I went with using a heart punch against a guy who just suffered a heart attack.
And the master of the heart punch will be at the Wrestling Fan Fest, Alex Baker. Have you ever any interaction with Alex Baker?
Yeah, sure. One of the first chances I had at a wrestling show, I went up to him. I was like a little kid, but I'd been wrestling for about, maybe 12 years, and I went up to him, excuse me, Ox, sir, it's an honor to meet you. And because I remember when I was a kid, Ox Baker was one of the few guys that genuinely scared me, and that's something that's really important for pro wrestling, especially as a child. You believe in these stars and these heroes, so if the villains don't genuinely scare you, then they're not really villains. I'm not scared of you, but Ox Baker, I kind of thought he lived under my bed. It was weird.
He just beat me up recently in Charlotte. He's still an intimidating man.
Yeah, big guy.
Yeah. Let's see here. Someone who's been calling the show for years and she really wanted to...
I'm losing you guys. Are we going through time? What's going on here?
She wanted to call and talk to you, but she has the show on in the background, and so
okay.
There goes that idea.
It doesn't matter how many times you tell them; they keep doing it.
But I did want to ask you something because part of the Fan Fest is also the Hall of Fame. And what I think is cool about this particular Hall of Fame is, and I don't know the right term to use, I don't know if enhancement and talent, but they induct guys like Mancini and the Duke of Dorchester, Pete Doherty, and
oh wow.
What do you think about that? That aspect of a Hall of Fame inducting those guys that might not, get the recognition that some of the.
Well, I mean, I am a big fan of knowing your foundation and knowing tradition. Mm-hmm. Pete Doherty should be recognized, and Mario Savoldi and Johnny Canine and Johnny Rods and Barry Horowitz and Tony Gurria and Rene Goulet and on, all these guys that listen. There's always going to be a Hulk Hogan and a John Cena. You're always going to need someone to put those guys over. So I think the Hall of Fame is just such a nice way to recognize those people. And for me, it's great if a dad takes his son and explains to his son who that man is and what that man did when that guy was, when he was a child. It connects generations, and that's really what wrestling's about.
Yeah. I was really happy a couple weeks ago we had the Duke of Dorchester on, and I grew up in Massachusetts, and I always saw him on Nesson, and honestly, he was one of my favorite guys on the show. He had a short run in commentary, so I really I think that's great about the show that they induct those guys. And he had a long run. I mean, when we had him on, he talked about he worked from 1973 to 1990 for the WWE. 17 years. That's pretty amazing.
I mean, that's awesome. Where else can you? If you asked a lot of people, they wouldn't know who he was, and they call themselves wrestling fans, and that's why I kind of chuckle a little bit in my own arrogant way.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever saw his or heard his commentary, but he had a short run, and like I said, I grew up watching him on Nesson Sports Network, and he did color for a little while, and he had the greatest line. It was when they would show the replay and the heel would cheat, and he would just go, "It's an optical illusion." And,
all right, I'm stealing that. I'm doing commentary for Border City Wrestling on Friday. New Japan is coming to Border City Wrestling, so I'm going to do my best to try to during the time splitters match. Gee, the Penguins just scored. That stinks.
Oh. All right.
Oh, well.
Miss Destiny, she's been wanting to call. You're actually her favorite wrestler.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Miss Destiny.
Hi, man. Do you remember me? I met you in January 7th of last year, the first Monday Night Raw of the New Year in Tampa, and the first words that came out of my mouth were, "I had a 7-year crush on you."
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to talk to you.
Again. Remember, again.
Yeah. Well, do you have a question, Miss D?
Of course he remembers.
Oh, my God. I hate to say this before the question. I'm shaking faster than earthquake.
Well, you're on the phone, so it's not that bad, but just hang in there, we'll be okay.
I still have that freaking crush on you, for crikety's sake. You're the reason my world goes round.
You're very sweet. Thank you.
All right, my question is this. It's a two-parter. One about your physical stuff and one about commentary. The commentary question is, who is, in your mind, the greatest commentator of all time? And mine, that was not you, was Gordon Soley.
Mine was not you.
All right, so wait, the question was, who's my opinion the greatest commentator of all time? And your answer is for you, it would be Gordon Soley?
My favorite was Gordon Soley if it's not you.
Well, thank you for that. I don't think my name and Gordon Soley's name should be mentioned in the same breath. I think that the greatness of a commentator, it lends itself to the memory that the individual has. For some people, they say Jim Ross is the greatest commentator of all time because Jim JR's voice is attached to that fall that Mick Foley Mankind took off of the top of the Hell in a Cell, and that moment is etched. For other people, it's Tony Schiavone because they only grew up watching, TBS. So I think it's a subjective question, but I don't know. That's hard for me to really say who I think the greatest is. There's a lot of people that can definitely be given consideration, but the greatest, I'm going to reserve comment.
I actually really liked how you put that because that's true because I remember a lot of the great matches with Jim Ross. So in my mind, for me, he was the best. And Gordon Soley's really before my time. I saw him near the end of his career, so I don't have the same opinion of him as somebody who watched him in his prime.
Right.
What's the other question, Miss D?
The second question is, when it comes to your physical stuff and your diet and your exercise, how are you like a laid-back person when it comes to the exercise and diet, or you're strict like a drill sergeant?
It's moderation as far as training goes, and I'm in a wrestling ring, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, because I choose to be, because I like it and I know it's important, and I respect the craft enough to know that I should stay in shape, not only for my well-being, for the well-being of the performance, and for the well-being of my opponent, whomever that may be. I play hockey, one night a week also, and I like to do that just to keep everything going. I'm in the gym a few days a week. I try to just have a responsibility to the performance and how I'm going to look out there and how it's going to go, but there isn't really any set, intense, regimen, so to speak.
And one more question. My birthday is June 10th. Is it okay if I can get a tweet from you?
Sure, just remind me on June 10th. Happy birthday. My birthday is at the end of June. My Twitter handle is @Lisa, LISA,
MISSGNY. Easiest if you tweet him your birthday.
All right, cool. Thank you for calling in. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I will, and I hope to see you again real soon.
Very cool.
All right, love. Bye.
Bye now.
Yeah. So you said you were you're doing the commentary. Was that on iPay-per-view coming up?
I'm pretty sure it is an iPay-per-view. It's this Friday in Windsor. It's Border City Wrestling versus New Japan, and all the guys are going to be there. I mean, from Nakamura to the Time Splitters to Watanabe and Alex Shelley, Booker T. It's really going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be something pretty cool for me too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Intro was there any more questions from the message board or Facebook?
Oh, I had one of my own. You were a teacher formerly. Have you gone back to that any?
A little bit here and there. I'm working on something with Connecticut School of Broadcasting. We might try to introduce a couple of new subjects that can really just help out some up and coming people that are trying to get into the field. But I still have my license, and it's something that's always there. And I'm thankful to my parents for telling me to do that. But as of right now, my back isn't to the wall, so to speak. So I'm still doing other things.
Do you consider yourself a better baby face or heel?
That's funny. My trainer always would say it doesn't matter if you were one or the other, a good guy or a bad guy. It just matters if you got your job done. I realized real quick in WWE that I wasn't going to be John Cena and I wasn't going to be Kane, so I just decided to be the best guy to get his butt kicked or the best guy to piss off the fans that I could be. So whatever assignment was given to me, I would do. So I don't know if I had a preference or a strong suit as far as good guy or bad guy goes.
All right. Fair enough. I also want to mention that Howard Finkel will be there, and he'll actually be one of the co-hosts of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, man. So, again, it's another guy. If you're in the area and you're debating whether or not to go, just come just to sit for 2 minutes and listen to Howard Finkel and ask him to say your name in his classic ring-announcing voice. That alone should be worth it for any wrestling fan to come to the Fan Fest.
Exactly. Joey Styles.
Another guy. Another great, great guy. I mean, gosh, you can talk about these commentators and Bobby Heenan and Howard Finkel. Joey Styles is a guy that we don't get to hear enough from, and he really is someone that you can sit and talk to and just feel like you're talking to a lifetime friend. Joey's a great guy.
Yeah. Oh, actually, one of my favorites is Big Bully Busick. Great mustache.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but now you can go to the website and check out all the names. Scott Norton, Jimmy Corderas, Scott Putski.
Oh, wow. Jimmy Corderas is a great friend of mine and a wonderful referee. And a lot of times, people always want to have the shoot interview with Hulk Hogan and they want to pick the brain of, AJ stuff. The referees from WWE are some of the most knowledgeable and valuable people you could ever want to meet. So Jimmy Corderas really gets a thumbs up from me. He's helped me out so much.
Yeah.
Juju B from the chat room, she wants to know what was it like interviewing Brad Maddox.
I really thought Brad was super talented, and I thought we had some great chemistry. And he and I always had fun working on camera together. Everything was ad-libbed and improv in this day and age when writers hand people scripts and they need to rehearse it 4 or 5 times. As soon as that light went on, I mean, that guy and I had some great chemistry, and I really think he should be given an opportunity to showcase his talents on WWE.
Speaking of chemistry, who do you think you had the best chemistry with on commentary?
You make your own chemistry. I had a legitimate friendship with Josh Matthews. I had a legitimate friendship with Todd Grisham. I had a legitimate reverence and respect for JR. So chemistry is really what you make of it. My time with William Regal also was a natural, adulation that I think lends itself to a nice little, partnership.
Mm-hmm. Now, the guy I was a fan of was the Boogie Man, and what was it like to get the worms in the mouth?
Oh man, it's exactly what it looked like, and they are real worms, and they move around in your mouth, and it's totally weird. But again, it's part of the performance and part of making everything look good. And you know, Boogie Man's a very strong guy, so even if I didn't want the worms in my mouth, there's nothing I was able to do.
Uh-huh. Well, we'd appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thanks a lot, man. I had a lot of fun. I know my phone's going to die, so I'm sorry I rushed through it, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see some people at the Fan Fest.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe we'll have you back sometime.
All right, man.
All right, very cool. Thank you. And we'll have all information up on the website. Again, it's June 21st, New England Fan Fest and Hall of Fame. It's Fan Fest during the day, Hall of Fame at night. And the website is NEPW, as in New England Pro Wrestling, HOF, as in Hall of Fame, .weebly.com.
All right, see you all there. Bye-bye.
It's late at night. You should be in your bed, but instead you're listening to In Your Head. I've been in your head for just about an hour talking about the MOM power. So things like this, don't be misled. Wrestling you're listening to In Your Head.